Welcome to Politics and Why with Sky. Schneps Media is speaking with all the newly elected, nominated New York City Council members. And right now I'm with Oswald Feliz, who won his election. It was a special election in March for Bronx District 15. Then there was a competitive June Democratic primary, and he is still the winner. He was one of the first people to be elected through ranked choice voting in New York City. And here he is, the famous Oswald Feliz, council member.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sky, with Politics and Why, for having me on your fun show.
I know you've been a big fan of the show, Oswald, because I see that you watch all the episodes on Instagram. So we're really happy to have you here today.
All of them, and there's one of them that was extremely fun to watch. I watched it at least 10 times. I think you know which one that one is.
with our friend Paperboy Prince.
Yes.
So thank you very much. Oswald, tell us everything. You want to tell us a little bit about your background, tell us how it feels to be a newly elected council member, walk us through all the different emotions that you have right now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sky, for having me on your show. I'm Council Member Oswald Feliz. I am the proud council member of the 15th Council District in the Bronx. I've lived here my entire life. I grew up and I live on Fordham Road. And I've dedicated my entire career to fighting to build a better Bronx. I'm a tenant lawyer. I've represented many of my neighbors in Bronx housing court, representing them in eviction cases and also in harassment cases where, for example, the landlord doesn't want to make repairs, so in hopes that the tenant would eventually leave. So I represented many of my neighbors in Bronx housing court. I'm also a college professor. I teach also in the Bronx. Everything I do is in the Bronx. I love my home of the Bronx. I teach reading and writing to struggling students at Hostos Community College. And now I have the privilege of serving as the council member of my home of the 15th Council District. And it's an honor and privilege.
It's awesome. So when you were elected in March, you went right into the council and started working, right?
Yep, we took office immediately, almost immediately, yes.
And then between then and June, you had another election to prepare for. Did you think that maybe you wouldn't win in June?
We always knew we would win. We received a lot of support. And actually, the March election was extremely competitive, and we were outgunned or outspent in political language. One of my opponents had 3 times the amount of resources that we had for the March election, and we still won, and we won with a very big lead. So we knew we would win in June. Well, we didn't take anything for granted. We worked very hard, but we knew we were in a really good path to victory. But we did know there would be a lot of obstacles or challenges, including not only having to campaign 80 plus hours a week, but on top of that, legislating in the middle of the budget season, and also transitioning as well, having to hire staff, reopen up the office. So we knew it would be a lot, but we were prepared for it and we enjoyed the journey.
It's really fantastic because there were a lot of races actually this year where there were candidates that had a ton of money compared to some of the other people in the race, and they actually didn't end up winning. There's a lot of different campaigns that we can point to with that example. So what would you say made you the actual winner? What was it about your campaign that really mobilized people to get out and vote for you?
Yeah, I think there were many factors. I think one big factor was my work in the Bronx. As a tenant lawyer, I represented many tenants in the Bronx, including some of the largest tenant associations in the district. I remember I actually represented a large tenant association on the Southern Boulevard section of the district. It's a 33-story building, many apartments. So just imagine how many tenants I represented. The people there love me because we delivered really good results for them. And some of my opponents were door knocking, and then they would text me and they would say, Oswald, what do you do to these people? Everybody knows you. They say there's no way they're not going to vote for you.
That's fabulous.
About 5 opponents texting me the exact same language. Oswald, these people love you. I am not going to door knock. I'm not going to waste my time in this building anymore. That's my work in the Bronx played a big role, but also our message, just in general, being a tenant lawyer. We have a housing crisis in our city, but especially in the Bronx.
Mhm.
And I think people wanted a tenant lawyer to represent them to help resolve that housing crisis, which is getting worse.
Right. So now leading with that, is that your priority for the district? And what do you think you can do differently to make a change with that in mind?
Yeah, so the housing crisis is a complex one. One of the big issues is affordability. We need, as a housing lawyer, I learned how to be a tough and how to be an effective negotiator. Um, our city is building a lot of affordable housing, and recently there was an affordable housing complex built in the Bronx, or affordable housing complex built in the Bronx, and a studio costs $2,000 a month. That's
Mhm.
not affordable to most people in the city. It's especially not affordable to people in the Bronx. So as a housing lawyer, we're going to be negotiating uh, very good projects for the district. When developers want to come and build to the district, we're going to say that we're open for business, but also that they got to give back to the district by building a lot of truly affordable housing, housing that is truly affordable to my neighbors in the Bronx.
Mhm. So now, Oswald Feliz, tell us as our final question something fun or interesting about yourself that maybe people don't know.
All right, what should that be? What should
You had a lot of time to think about this one.
I? All right, let's see. So, right before the pandemic, thank God I planned that vacation before the pandemic. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to do it.
Yes,
Uh,
you were in Jamaica, right? Or no, that was more recently.
that was much more. Yeah, that was actually last week, right after the election, but very close to Jamaica. I went to the Bahamas back in October, about 3 months before the pandemic, and I became a licensed scuba diver.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah, I actually went swimming, became a licensed scuba diver, so I could swim 60 feet under the ocean. I could explore the underwater world, and I did actually. I uh, dove literally the entire week. I saw many water animals, including sharks.
Wow. Scuba diving freaks me out because I can hear myself breathing. I
Yeah,
don't I don't like that.
yeah. It's an exercise, just learning how to block that out. That was actually a big problem when during my first dive.
Mhm.
But yeah, I went swimming with sharks, not the great white sharks. I would never go swimming with those. They were friendly sharks, reef sharks, and nurse sharks. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, it was a very different experience.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's so nice to get to know you in this candid, open, honest interview with Council Member Oswald Feliz. Thanks for being part of Politics NY with Sky as part of this Schneps Media series.